7.2 Regions: Siberia, the Far East, and Southern Russia. Siberia. Siberia as a place name actually refers to all of Asian Russia east of the Ural Mountains, including the eastern frontier and the Russian Far East. However, in this and some other geography textbooks, the term Siberia more specifically describes only the region north of the eastern frontier that extends to the Kamchatka Peninsula. The word Siberia conjures up visions of a cold and isolated place, which is true. Stretching from the northern Ural Mountains to the Bering Strait, Siberia is larger than the entire United States, but it is home to only about 15 million people. Its cities are located on strategic rivers with few overland highways connecting them. Type D, or continental climates, dominate the southern portion of this region, and the territory consists mostly of coniferous forests in a biome called taiga. This is one of the world's largest taiga regions. Type E, or polar climates, can be found in the north of the taiga along the coast of the Arctic Sea, where the tundra is the main physical landscape. No trees grow in the tundra because of the semi-frozen ground. Permafrost may thaw near the surface during the short summer season, but is permanently frozen beneath the surface. On the eastern edge of the continent, the mountainous Kamchatka Peninsula has 20 active volcanoes and more than 100 inactive volcanoes. It is one of the most active geological regions on the Pacific Rim. The vast northern region of Russia is sparsely inhabited, but holds enormous quantities of natural resources such as oil, timber, diamonds, natural gas, gold, and silver. There are vast resources in Siberia waiting to be extracted, and this treasure trove will play an important role in Russia's economic future. Across the strait from Japan is Russia's Far East region, with the port of Vladivostok, population 578,000, as its primary city. Bordering North Korea and China, this Far East region is linked to Moscow by the Trans-Siberian Railway. Before 1991, Vladivostok was closed to outsiders and was an important army and naval base for the Russian military. Goods and raw materials from Siberia and nearby Sakhalin Island were processed here and shipped west by train. Sakhalin Island and its coastal waters have oil and mineral resources. Industrial and business enterprises declined with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Today, the Far East is finding itself on the periphery of Russia's hierarchy of productivity. However, it has the potential to emerge again as an important link to the Pacific Rim markets. Southern Russia. In the southern portion of the Russian core lies a land bridge between Europe and Southwest Asia, a region dominated by the Caucasus Mountains. To the west is the Black Sea, and to the east is the landlocked Caspian Sea. Located on the border between Georgia and Russia, Mount Elbrus is the highest peak on the European continent, as well as the highest peak in Russia. Most of this region was conquered by the Russian Empire during the 19th century and held as part of the Soviet Union in the 20th. However, only a minority of its population is ethnic Russian, and its people consist of a constellation of at least 50 ethnic groups speaking a variety of languages. The Caucasus is an area of great ecological importance. Its wildlife includes Persian leopards, brown bears, wolves, bison, morals, or Caspian red deer, and golden eagles. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Caucasus region has been the main location of unrest with Russia. Wars between Russia and groups in the Caucasus have claimed thousands of lives. Some of the non-Russian territories of the Caucasus would like to become independent, but Russia fears an unraveling of its country if their secession is allowed to proceed. To understand why the Russians have fought the independence of places such as Chechnya, but did not fight against the independence of other former Soviet states in the Caucasus, such as Armenia, it's necessary to study the administrative structure of Russia itself. Of the 21 republics, 8 are located in southern Russia in the Caucasus region. One of these, the Chechen Republic, or Chechnya, has never signed the Federation Treaty to join the Russian Federation. In fact, Chechnya proposed independence after the breakup of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the USSR. Although other territories to the south of Chechnya, such as Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan, also declared their independence from Russia after 1991, they were never administratively part of Russia. During the Soviet era, those countries were classified as Soviet Specialist Republics, so it was easy for them to become independent countries when all the other republics, like Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, did so after 1991. However, Chechnya was administratively part of the USSR, with no right to succession. After 1991, Russia decided that it would not allow territories that had been administratively governed by Russia to secede, and has fought wars to prevent that from happening. It feared the consequences if all 21 republics within the Russian Federation were declared independent countries. Chechnya has fought against Russia for independence twice since the USSR's collapse. The First Chechen War, 1994 to 1996, ended in a stalemate, and Russia allowed the Chechens to have a de facto independence for several years. But in 1991, Russia resumed military action, and by 2009, the war was essentially over, and Chechnya was once more under Russian control. By the between 25,000 and 50,000 Chechens were killed in the war, and between 5,000 and 11,000 Russian soldiers were also killed. In 2003, the United Nations called Grozny, Chechnya's capital, the most destroyed city on Earth. Reconstruction of Grozny has slowly begun. There are 2 videos that do a good job of explaining the Chechen Wars. Even before the recent wars, Chechnya had a difficult past. Over the course of its history, it has been at the boundary between the Ottoman Empire, the Persian Empire, and the Russian Empire. Most of the people converted to Sunni Islam in the 1700s to curry favor with the Ottomans and to seek their protection against the Russian encroachment. Nevertheless, Chechnya was annexed by the Russian Empire. During the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin's reign of terror, more than 500,000 Chechens were loaded onto train cars and shipped to Kazakhstan, where as many as half of them died.